Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Here is a collection of different NDE stories. I hope these stories can give you some inspiration or hope. Let's start today's story.
Before I went through this, I was an atheist, including my family. We didn't have the habit of going to church, not sure if God or heaven existed on this issue. My point is that reason and science and knowledge are the only sources. My wife left me and took our then 1-year-old son. I fell into deep depression. I didn't tell my parents about it, I just wanted to be alone for a while. This incident hit me hard. I didn't have the heart to work, so I quit my job. My family is not rich, although I got divorced. I didn't want my son to live too hard, so I decided to sell the house. I gave most of the money to my ex-wife, and with the rest, I decided to rent a house in the country temporarily, and I lived there for about 8 months. I often go for walks in the woods, and while walking in the woods, I feel a sense of fear that I will never see my son again. The dread started to overwhelm me on the long drive home because they had moved far away to live in the city. Suddenly, I saw a golden light coming from above my head, sending an inaudible message. The message under that light was, "You're going to be the father of your son." I was carried away by the peace and relief that message brought, so I drove and sobbed and said loudly, "Thank you." When I got home at night, I was exhausted, so I went to bed. As I lay on my back, I started to feel my body start shaking. Specifically, every part of my body, my back, arms, legs started shaking. It lasted and intensified for a few seconds, and I wanted to sit up and see what was going on, and when I opened my eyes, I saw a beam or string of light, kind of like a bundle of fiber optics. I don't remember the color, but I believe it was a combination of white, pink and blue. Light is coming in or out of my eyes. The light streamed through most of my body, and after a while, my body stopped vibrating, except for my right hand. I started to feel overwhelmed and a little scared, so I lay face down on the bed. After I calmed down, I tried to sleep. Again in a supine position. After a few seconds or minutes, I realized that there was an entity floating in the air. This entity was made of bright green-yellow light. The light appears to be pouring out of that entity. The closest body shape I can describe is a woman sitting in a meditative pose. Although there is a feeling of light flowing or pouring in the entity does not change its position in the room. I reckon the entity was there for a few minutes. The entity had a feminine feel to it. I felt it had a lot to do with both my ex-wife and my daughter, and as the experience went on, I was almost sure I was communicating with my ex-wife. When the entity appeared, there were other things going on, and it's hard for me to tell the order in which they appeared, or if they were in no particular order. I felt like I was in a small amphitheater surrounded by familiar people, some of whom I recognized. The feeling I got from those who were there was that I had finally got there, I was surrounded by love, and everything was going to be alright for everyone in the world. I have a momentary life review. This feels more spatial than continuous. The best way I can describe it is, I've always been a slob. At that moment, I was able to see how all the parts of my life were interconnected. I could see and feel how I was hurting people I cared about because of my own carelessness. I feel a sense of being connected to everything in the universe. I am no longer afraid of death because death is obviously illusory. Before this, I had a deep fear of my own death. The experience ended that year, and it never came back. My understanding of the nature of the universe has completely changed because of my experience. Many things have become clear to me now that the world I live in is far more complex than the real world I never believed before. I became more interested in nature and more interested in talking and connecting with others. After going through this, I became cheerful. I know that there is no point in being sad like this. I still have family members who need my care. I adjusted my mentality and contacted some former friends. I want to find a job. Because I believe that as long as I work hard, life will get better and better.